Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring the world of web scraping. That's it. With a focus on the Scrapingdog API. You submitted quite a few sources on this one, so
Yeah.
it's clear you're interested in learning how to easily extract data from the web. Now, for anyone who might be unfamiliar with web scraping, it's essentially like having this digital assistant that goes out and gathers specific information from websites for you. Imagine never having to manually copy and paste data again. That's the power of web scraping. But of course, websites can be a bit tricky to navigate. When you're trying to extract data, they have their own rules and security measures in place. That's where APIs come in. Think of an API or application programming interface as the secret language that allows your computer to communicate directly with a website and request specific information. And the Scrapingdog API, well, it has some really impressive features that make this whole process incredibly efficient. I'm eager to hear more about this, especially how it handles some of the common challenges of web scraping.
You're right. Web scraping can be a real headache if you're doing it manually. Scraping Dog tackles some of the biggest hurdles head on. For example, websites often try to block automated scraping attempts. Scraping Dog gets around this by using rotating proxies, which are like digital disguises for your computer. They make it appear as if requests are coming from different locations so you don't trigger any alarms. And then there's the issue of websites using JavaScript to load content dynamically. These days, it's pretty common for websites to load content this way, and traditional scraping methods can struggle to capture it. Scrapingdog solves this problem by using headless browsers. They're essentially invisible browsers that render the entire page, just like you would see it so it can grab all the data, even the parts that are loaded dynamically.
That's incredibly clever. So Scrapingdog is basically helping me bypass all the roadblocks that websites put up without me having to lift a finger. It's like having a VIP pass to the internet. But what about those kippy TCHAs, those annoying puzzles that websites use to try and prove you're a human? Those always slow me down.
Don't worry, Scrapingdog has you covered there too. It uses advanced algorithms to solve many CAPI TCHAs automatically, so you won't be stuck clicking on crosswalks and traffic lights all day, just to prove you're not a robot. This also means that your scraping tasks will have a much higher success rate.
That's a huge relief. I'm already starting to see how much time and frustration Scrapingdog could save me. But let's get into the specifics. What kind of data can I actually extract with this API?
One of the things that makes Scrapingdog so powerful is its collection of dedicated APIs. These are like specialized tools designed to extract specific types of data. For example, let's say you're interested in gathering data from YouTube. Scrapingdog has a YouTube search scraper API that can pull video titles, links, channel details, descriptions, pretty much everything you could want.
That's interesting. So if I were a content creator, I could use that to see what's trending, analyze my competition, and maybe even get some ideas for my next video.
Exactly. And then there's the Google Scraper API. This one's a real powerhouse when it comes to handling large-scale data extraction from Google Search. You can use it for competitor analysis, building search tools, even training AI models that need massive data sets.
Hold on, training AI models? So I could potentially train my own AI using data I scrape from Google. That's pretty incredible. What other dedicated APIs does Scrapingdog offer?
We've also got an Amazon Scraper API, which is perfect for businesses. They need to track product prices, analyze reviews, or keep an eye on their competitors on Amazon. And for those in recruitment, market research, or networking, the LinkedIn Profile Scraper API is a goldmine. It can extract data from company and individual profiles, providing insights into potential candidates, industry trends, and valuable connections.
Okay, so we've got YouTube, Google, Amazon, LinkedIn. It sounds like Scrapingdog is the ultimate web scraping toolkit. It's like having a key that unlocks any door on the internet. I'm curious, what are some of the most common ways people use Scrapingdog in their everyday lives or work?
One of the most popular use cases is price monitoring. Let's say you're an avid online shopper, and you want to track the prices of products you're interested in. You can set up Scrapingdog to monitor those products and alert you the moment they go on sale. Businesses can use it to keep tabs on their competitors' pricing strategies as well, making sure they stay competitive.
That makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned earlier that Scrapingdog can be used for training AI models. I'm guessing that's becoming increasingly popular as AI becomes more prevalent in various industries.
Absolutely. AI relies on massive amounts of data to learn and improve. And Scrapingdog can be a valuable tool for gathering those data sets, whether it's for image recognition, natural language processing, or any other AI application. Scrapingdog can supply the data you need to fuel those models.
So Scrapingdog is like the fuel for the AI engine. I like that analogy. Another use case you mentioned was lead generation. I imagine this would be incredibly useful for businesses looking to expand their customer base.
You're right. Scrapingdog can help businesses identify potential customers or clients from a variety of online sources, like business directories, social media platforms, or industry-specific websites. It streamlines the lead generation process and can really boost a company's sales and marketing efforts.
All of this sounds incredibly powerful and efficient. Now, I know we've been talking about all the amazing things Scrapingdog can do, but realistically, how much does all this power cost? I'm sure our listeners are wondering about pricing.
That's a great question. Scrapingdog uses a credit system for pricing. You purchase credits, and each request you make to an API costs a certain number of credits. The cost per request varies, depending on the API you're using. For example, a request to the Google Search API might cost more than a request to the YouTube Search API because it involves processing more data.
So it's a pay-as-you-go system. The
Yeah.
more data you need, the more credits you use. That seems fair. But what if someone wants to just test the waters and see what Scrapingdog can do before committing to a PEG plan? Is there a way to try it out?
That's where it gets really interesting.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Scrapingdog actually offers a free trial with 1,000 free credits. That's enough to experiment with the different APIs, run some test scrapes, and get a feel for the platform before deciding to invest further.
That's incredibly generous. 1,000 free credits is more than enough to get a taste of the power of Scrapingdog. I can already see why people are so excited about this technology. It really seems to be changing the game when it comes to web scraping. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a moment to recap what we've learned so far.
So far, we've established that Scrapingdog really takes the hassle out of web scraping. It handles proxies, CAPTCHAs, and even those tricky websites. They use a lot of JavaScript. But what's really revolutionary is that it puts the power of data analysis
Yeah.
into everyone's hands. You don't need a big budget or a team of engineers to unlock these valuable insights. It's like giving everyone a magnifying glass to see the hidden patterns of the web.
That's a great point. It's like democratizing access to information that was previously only available to those with significant resources. It really levels the playing field. So let's say I'm convinced and ready to dive in. Where do I even begin with Scrapingdog?
The first step would be to sign up for that free trial with the 1,000 free credits. Scrapingdog's website has excellent documentation and tutorials that are easy to follow, so you don't need to worry about being overwhelmed by technical jargon.
1,000 free credits to play around with. It takes away any apprehension about trying it out. But I do have one question before I jump in. Scrapingdog seems incredibly powerful, but are there any limitations to what I can scrape?
It's true that Scrapingdog opens up a world of possibilities. But like any tool, it has its boundaries. Some websites have very strict security measures that even the most sophisticated scraping tools can struggle to bypass. You might also encounter rate limits, where a website restricts the number of requests you can send within a certain time frame to prevent overload.
That makes sense. Websites need to protect their data and ensure their servers can handle the traffic. So it's a balancing act between accessing the information you need while respecting the limitations that are in place.
Exactly. And it's always a good idea to familiarize yourself with a website's terms of service, to understand what's permissible when it comes to scraping. Think of it like being a good neighbor on the internet. You want to gather the data you need without disrupting the online ecosystem.
Good internet etiquette is definitely key. Now, you mentioned that some websites might have really tough security. Realistically, what kind of success rate can someone expect when using Scrapingdog?
Scrapingdog boasts a pretty high success rate, especially when compared to manual scraping or less sophisticated tools. Their use of rotating proxies and CAPTCHA solving algorithms really makes a difference. But of course, no tool can guarantee a 100% success rate.
So it's always a good idea to have a backup plan, just in case you run into a website that's particularly difficult to scrape. Now, switching gears a bit, we've been talking a lot about the technical side of things. I'm curious, what are some unique or creative ways you've seen people using Scrapingdog?
Oh, there's so many interesting examples. I've seen people use it to track real estate trends, monitor social media sentiment for specific topics, even analyze the lyrics of their favorite musicians. It's really only limited by your imagination.
Wow, that's incredible. It really opens up a world of possibilities. It's amazing to think that anyone with an internet connection and a bit of curiosity can now tap into such vast amounts of data. It's almost like you're giving them a superpower.
I like that analogy. It really is about empowering people with the ability to see patterns and connections that were hidden before. It's about making sense of the vast amount of information that's out there on the web. And with a tool like Scrapingdog, It doesn't have to be a daunting task.
It's exciting to think about all the potential discoveries waiting to be made. And it's not just about making discoveries for yourself. Scraping Dog can be used to gather data that can benefit others or even entire communities.
Absolutely. You can use it to gather data for research projects, journalistic investigations, or even to advocate for social change. The applications are truly limitless.
This is inspiring. I'm starting to think that data is the new gold rush, and Scraping Dog is the pickaxe and shovel that everyone needs to get started.
I like that comparison. In today's data-driven world, the ability to extract, analyze, and act on information is a huge advantage, whether you're an entrepreneur,
Ah,
a researcher, an artist, or just someone with a curious mind.
and with Scraping Dog, that advantage is now accessible to everyone. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out with web scraping and feeling a bit overwhelmed by all the possibilities?
My advice would be to start small. Don't try to boil the ocean right away. Pick a project that genuinely interests you, something that you're curious to explore. Maybe you want to track the prices of your favorite sneakers, or analyze the Twitter sentiment around a particular event. Start with something manageable. And as you gain experience and confidence, you can tackle more complex projects.
That's sound advice. Start small, experiment, and most importantly, have fun with it. It's about the journey of discovery as much as the destination. And speaking of the destination, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive with a final thought-provoking question for our listeners. So if you had the power of Scraping Dog at your fingertips, what kind of information would you be most interested in gathering from the web? And what could you do with that information? Could you solve a problem, create something new, or maybe even change the world in some small way?
That's the real question, isn't it? We've talked about the technical details, the practical uses, and the importance of being responsible with this power. But ultimately, the real magic happens when people start using Scraping Dog to explore their own ideas and pursue their own passions. It's a tool for turning data into something meaningful, something that can make a difference.
It's like we've given our listeners a treasure map, and Scraping Dog is the key to unlocking the treasure chest.
I love that analogy. And the most exciting part is that we don't even know what those treasures will be. We might see scientific breakthroughs, artistic masterpieces, innovative business solutions, all fueled by the power of web data.
This has been an incredible journey, and I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of what's possible with Scraping Dog. It's clear that this technology has the potential to empower individuals, businesses, and even entire communities in ways we're only just.
I completely agree. Beginning to imagine. And the best part is that it's just getting started. As web scraping technology continues to evolve and become even more accessible, who knows what amazing discoveries and innovations await us.
So, to all of you listening out there, we challenge you to embrace this power. What data mysteries have you always wanted to solve? What burning questions have you been unable to answer? Scraping Dog gives you the tools, but the adventure is yours to create. Go explore, experiment, and most importantly, have fun. We can't wait to see what you discover. Be sure to share your Scraping Dog creations, your data insights, and your aha moments with us on social media. Until next time, keep diving deep,